welcome back to another installment of Wedding Essentials. If you're just tuning in, Wedding Essentials is a new video series I've created to help couples plan and prepare for the wedding day. This week I'll be sharing some of my favorite tips on how to curate and craft a wedding day timeline. Now, if you're a Deborah photography client, we'll be chatting together about 2 months before the wedding day and starting to plan and prepare for the wedding day timeline. We'll coordinate with your venue, with your wedding coordinator or planner, along with the DJ to ensure that everyone is on the same page. Now, what does that mean for you? Planning and preparing for the wedding day timeline ahead of the wedding day will ensure that no matter what happens on the wedding day, you can sit back, relax, and enjoy every moment together. There are several tips that I share with couples on how to best craft the wedding day timeline. Tip number 1, consider your photographer and their needs. So what does that mean? How much time does your photographer need on the wedding day to capture things like the bride and groom portraits, the bridal party, and the family? Knowing that ahead of the wedding means that you can plan for that time on the wedding day and ensure that your photographer has enough time that they need to best capture these moments throughout the day. If those are things that are important to you, ensure that you make time for those things on the wedding day. Tip number 2 would be consider extending your cocktail hour. If you choose not to have a first look and see each other before the ceremony, and you choose to have all of your photos taken afterwards, you may want to consider extending your cocktail hour to ensure that you have enough time for those things to be photographed. Oftentimes, squeezing that much amount of photography into an hour is very chaotic and stressful, not only for your photographer but also for you. So if you extend the cocktail hour by just 15 minutes or even a half an hour, you'll ensure that that time is very relaxed and not stressful, and ensures that you're not feeling rushed from one thing to the next. Tip number 3 is to consider any travel that you might be having throughout the wedding day. So for example, if there is any travel from the getting ready location to the ceremony location, you'll want to make sure that you're allotting for that amount of travel in between. If there's any travel from the ceremony to the reception, make sure that you're allotting for that travel when you're planning out your timeline. And you don't want to say, for example, that you have 30 minutes for the bride and groom portraits, but it takes 30 minutes to get from the ceremony to the reception. Ensure that those times are separate and accounted for in the wedding day timeline. And lastly, tip number 4 would be to take into consideration anything that might happen on the wedding day that is unplanned for. So it may be wise for you to allot 10, 15, or even just 5 minutes through the wedding day timeline that is just for anything that might be unexpected on the wedding day. So for example, that could be any wardrobe malfunctions, a family member who was late or lost, your hair and makeup running late, any weather delays, and even travel like we mentioned before. There are a lot of different things that can affect a wedding day timeline, and by planning for that piece by piece throughout the wedding day timeline ensures that if there are any disruptions to the wedding day, you are prepared and you can just simply sit back and enjoy the moment together. I hope that this video has been helpful for you and given you some tips into how to plan for your wedding day timeline. Thanks again for tuning in, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.